All right, if you're ready to get started, I'm ready to get started. And we're going to talk about something today that's probably not talked about at most accounting firms, maybe even in the world. And it's a subject that people have been trying to get me to talk about in my coaching program for a long time. And for whatever reason, I either didn't see the need for it, or I didn't see the deep value in it, but I have come to change my mind about this. And we're going to talk about two words: courage and confidence. Okay, courage and confidence, because it appears to me that any time in life, and I'm going to bring all this home to the accounting piece at the end, so just work with me as I coach you through this. It appears to me that when we don't make decisions in our lives to do anything, it's because we're lacking two things. We're lacking courage, and I'm going to give you the definitions of courage, and we're lacking confidence. And because we don't have confidence, we don't have courage. Because we don't have confidence, we don't have courage, we don't take action. So what happens to us is other people who have courage and have confidence basically take the opportunities that could be ours, and they capture those opportunities. They turn liabilities into assets. They get the new business. They retain the client for a longer period of time. Why? Because they had the courage to do something. Now, I want you to think about something I want you to think about all the decisions that you're not making right now because of a lack of courage. All the things you're not taking. There's probably something you won't spend money on because you're afraid you won't recapture that money. There's probably a connection you need to make, but you're afraid you can't get in the door. There's probably a client that's been difficult in the past, so you don't want to address their behavior. There's probably been something that you've not done because you just didn't have the courage to do it. And I am tying these two things together, that people that don't have courage lose opportunities. Now, that's called a cost opportunity, I guess, in an accounting world. Is there was opportunity that we can't capture or recapture because we just didn't have the courage to ask for the sale, to ask for the referral, to ask for the business. Okay, so but this is a deeply personal issue. Like for each person, this comes down to you and yours. So I want you to think about this. Here's the definition of courage: the ability to do something that frightens you, the willingness to confront uncertainty. Okay, now, how many of you see people every day, especially in your work, that have the ability to take big risk? They have the ability to take big risk even when they don't have all the facts. Like here's an example. I worked with a home builder during the recession, and they had budgeted to lose $500,000 that year, and that was considered a win. This was during the recession. Everybody's going bankrupt. They're laying people off like crazy. In their budget, they said, if we only lose $500,000, coach, this will be considered a huge win for our company. And I would watch the owner of that company come in, look at a piece of land during this recession, and make a multi-million-dollar decision about purchasing a piece of land, while at the same time losing money day after day after day after day after day. And I'm going to tell you something, guys and girls, it scared me to death. Like, I was like, do we need to think about it? Do we need to pray about it? Do we need to do some research on it? And he would go, no, go get it. And it literally in 15 seconds, he would walk in and make a decision. Now, and at that time, he was doing banking with 43 different banks. So 43 different banks, we had to go in front of those 43 banks and show them our plan for paying all the debt back that he owed to the banks when he was buying the land, developing the land. And during the middle of all of this, he would literally walk in and make a multi-million-dollar decision in a matter of 10 seconds, and then he'd leave the room. And I just like, man, this guy's got so much courage. Like, where does this courage come from? Well, that guy this year made $33 million personally. He has made over $100 million the last 4 years personally. That's not to his company. That's to him. Now, think about him having that courage while all the other builders that were out there were going bankrupt, were laying people off, didn't know what to do. This guy just got up every day and he just kept fighting. He had no college degree. He was a janitor at Winn-Dixie growing up. He bought one piece of property every 6 months because of an infomercial. This is the same dude that made $33 million this year. Now, so what does he have? Does he really have a huge intelligence? Probably not. Is he smarter than everybody in the room? Probably not. The one thing he has over everybody is he's got guts, and he's got a deep courage about him. So I want you to think about, are you willing to do things that frighten you? Number one. Are you willing to confront uncertainty? Or when you have uncertainty, do you take action? Because here's some synonyms for this word courage: backbone, spine, spirit, grit, boldness, spunk, audacity. Now, I know some people, guys, that I coach don't have any of those. You got no backbone, no spine, no boldness, no audacity, no spunk, no grit, no anything. Right? And I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, they're never gonna prosper in life. They're never gonna grow. They're never gonna expand. Raise your hand if you think expansion requires courage in any area of life. Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. Expansion requires courage. Okay. So when you're thinking about this concept, and Jonathan, what we're talking about is courage and confidence. So confidence, as we're tying these things together, confidence is an internal knowing that you can create or manifest something, even when there's uncertainty. Okay. So let me just ask you guys, and Jonathan, thank you for joining us, because this is a big topic. We're talking about something no accounting firm in the world's ever talking about, which is courage. Okay. Where do you think courage comes from? Because I'm going to tie this into the very end. It takes courage to find liabilities for a client. It takes courage to go in and add emotional support to a client. Like, where do you think this actually comes from? For the people that have it and take action, where do you think it actually comes from?
You asking me or the whole group?
I'm asking anybody in the whole room. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer. Where do you think the courage comes from to take action?
I think for me, courage comes from, I have more courage when I've had the experience.
Okay. So courage comes from confidence, and confidence comes from demonstrated capacity. Demonstrated capacity comes from repetition. It's like working a muscle. The more you work the muscle, the more confident you are. The more confident you are, the more courage you have. The more courage you have, the more action you take. And what I'm trying to get at here, Jonathan, is a lot of people do not take action in the world because they have a lack of courage. Okay. A lack of boldness, a lack of spine, a lack of backbone, a lack of audacity, a lack of confidence in their internal self. Okay. And if there's one word you want associated with an accounting firm, it's confidence. You need confidence. Okay. Now, when you think about this, I'm going to start with some questions. So confidence is an internal knowing that you can create or manifest something. It's an internal knowing that you can create or manifest something. All right. It's confidence. My daughter is 7 years old, and she wrote her schedule out, and she gets up at 5:30 in the morning and she does yoga, kids yoga. And then she starts her day. And you know, I don't know. I was telling my wife on this trip, I'm like we're, you know, I didn't tell her to do it. My wife didn't tell her to do it. She just watches that I plan my days out every day in my planner. So she wrote on a piece of paper, up at 5:30, yoga. Then she put 6 a.m. dress, 6:30 breakfast, 7 leave for school, and she put it right up on the refrigerator in the living room. And I'm like, who told her to do that? Like, where did she learn how to do that? Where does she think? Well, she just saw me do it. Well, when she gets up and does that, what is that going to do for her confidence? Like, I'm trying to teach her how to have courage, how to have confidence, how to talk to people, how to ask questions. So I took her down to Nashville this weekend to show her what a big city looks like. And I said, I want to show you how fast a big city moves and how tall the buildings are and how many cars there are. And I want you to see this, because I want you to have the courage, because truth, I didn't go to a big city till I was 16 or 17 years old. I didn't get on an airplane and go places. When I went to college for my first year, I didn't even talk to anybody. I wore a hat. I sat on the back row. I didn't join a fraternity. I didn't do anything. Why? I didn't have courage, and I didn't have any confidence. Do you think that limited my opportunity? Yes or no? Yeah, drastically limited my opportunity, because all the opportunity you're looking for is in your connections to other people. And if you don't have enough courage to talk to other people, get on an airplane, go to a big city, do these things. So I used that lesson on Saturday to take my daughter down there. And at the end of the day, I said, what's the biggest difference between Nashville and Murfreesboro? And the best answer she had was, there's more cars, Daddy. There's more cars down here. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Okay, now, so let's start with some questions. If courage is the ability to do something that frightens you, it's the ability to confront uncertainty. It's the ability to move forward even when there's not certainty. I was working with the '1 hypnotist in the world, Marshall Silver, and really creepy when you're talking to him, because you don't know if he's trying to hypnotize you or he's so good with he has his show in Vegas, and he's so good that you're always questioning, like, has he got me under trance? Like, is he trying to get me to do something he wants me to do? And he said the #1 people are looking for is certainty. They want to know everything's going to be all right. They want to know no matter how bad it is, it's going to work out. They want to know that, hey, although we're not hitting our goals, that we're going to hit our goals. They want to know that everybody's going to show up every day. They want to know, like he said, the #1 thing people need is they need certainty. Well, I'm telling you that courage is the ability to take action when there is no certainty. There is uncertainty. Okay? So what you're doing is you're bringing confidence to a person's insecurity. Would you say that's what most good accounting firms are doing? They have uncertainty. Are we going to make payroll? Do we have enough money? Or how much are we going to have to pay in taxes? Like, they have uncertainty. You are bringing certainty to their uncertainty. But guess what you can't do, Gus? You can't bring me certainty if you don't have any, right? You can't bring me something you don't have. Okay, so I want you to think about this. So let's start with these questions. #1, what frightens you? #2, why does it frighten you? #3, what does this fear keep you from doing? #4, how much opportunity is this costing you? And #5, what decisions should you be making, but you're not because of a fear or a lack of courage? Okay, now I want you to think about this. When a business owner has accurate numbers, what does that give them? Jonathan, what's that give them?
Gives them confidence.
Right, gives them certainty.
Certainty.
Now, when they have this certainty, I want you to think about this. They're going to spend money on marketing that they may or may not ever get back. They're going to spend money on employees that may lose money for them. They're going to spend money on new ideas and programs that may never work. They're going to spend money on hiring their first employee, which is what most small business owners will never do, right or wrong. They'll never even hire their first employee. Okay. They're going to spend money on leveling up their skill set. Okay. So here's a question for you guys. I ask my team this almost every day. When is the last time you spent your own personal money on leveling up your skill set? See, I asked my team this the other day. I went around the group and I said, Lakin, you're asking people to spend $997 to buy a year's worth of coaching from Monster Producer to level up their skills. When's the last time you spent $997 on yourself to level up your skill set? Eric, when's the last time you spent $997 on yourself to level up your skill set? Okay. Chelsea, when's the last time you spent $997 to level? Not the company, not Coach Burt paying for you to get better. I'm talking about you on your own dime, willing to level up your skills because you believe that your skills are tied to your compensation. Okay. And guess what I found out when I asked them that question? Jonathan, what do you think I found out?
None of them have.
Right. They couldn't tell me the last time they bought a book. They couldn't tell me the last time they went to a workshop. They couldn't tell me the last time they went to a seminar. And I said, here you are trying to convince another person that they should spend just $1,000 to get better. And you won't even spend $1,000 to get better. Now, why? Because you lack courage, man. Here's what you're saying. What if it don't work? What if I don't follow through? What if I lose my money? What if I don't do it? Like you need, here's what I said. Y'all need courage because you're trying to sell something you ain't even got. Getting a person to commit to something takes this because I'm transferring my confidence and my courage to you. Okay. So when you think about this, when you have courage, you will spend money on the marketing. You will spend money on employees. You will spend money on new ideas. You will spend money on your first person. You will spend money on leveling up your skills. You will spend time and energy on opportunities that may or may not ever work out. And you will spend time on customers that may never appreciate you if you have courage, right or wrong. A person that does not have courage, one complaint, one negative person can completely destroy their confidence. One negative complaint during a day can completely take them out. One person can completely ruin their day or ruin their week if you don't have courage. Because if you play at a high level, you're going to need courage because you're going to get a lot of criticism. Okay. You're going to get a lot of criticism. You're not going to get any criticism when you're not doing anything. Now, but what if, now let's play the other side of this spectrum. What if the marketing did work that you had the courage to spend money on? What if the employees you brought in to allowed you to play in your unique ability area and you multiplied? What if your ideas turned into millions of dollars? What if your first employee allows you to multiply your income 4 times? What if your new skill set demands infinitely more money? What if 1 out of every 10 opportunities that you do try do work? I want you to think about that. Okay. Courage. That's what we're talking about. So we'll never know without one thing: confidence. Courage and confidence are tied to each other. Okay. Without confidence, you won't take action. You won't find the courage. Confidence gives you the courage. The question becomes, where does the confidence come from? Now, if you had to say, Jonathan, just role play with me here for just a second. When you're thinking about the interactions you're having with your clients, where is it important? Where is it important that every person sitting in the room understand this concept of why they need this courage and confidence as it relates to interacting with the public? Here's the deal. If I lose confidence in you, okay, that violates a part of my nature, the spirit. If I lose confidence in you because you don't get back to me, because you don't respond in a timely fashion, because you don't take issues serious. Like we use a law firm in Nashville, Bone McAllister. That's an incredible law firm. I mean, my personal attorney is incredible, but we needed some answers on something. And it took them, like we kept asking, we need resolution on this. We need resolution on this. We need resolution on this. After we have to ask for something 3 or 4 or 5 times, guess what we start doing? We start losing confidence. And we start, right? Now, what does that give us courage to do? Well, maybe we should go look at somebody who can respond faster. Maybe we go look at somebody who can solve our problem, because it doesn't seem to be a priority. I have a 2 phone call rule. And the 2 phone call rule is this: if your customer has to call you more than 2 times, then you have dropped the ball somewhere, meaning they should call you to explore using you. From that point forward, the only call they should make is the second phone call to you, which is to tell you you're incredible and I want to refer you to other people. If they have to constantly check in, on what they're doing, on what's happening. Why are you behind? I had to email you 7 times to get a response from you. Like if your customers constantly have to do this, eventually it just erodes confidence, and to the point that they get the courage to go get somebody else. They get the courage to go, you know what, this ain't working, man. As good as they are, they're the best in the world, but they can't respond. We can't get an answer out of them. They don't pay attention to what's going on. Like Jonathan, tell the people in the room where you're seeing this tie into their specific role.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, the confidence and courage comes from the experience of dealing with clients on a regular basis and knowing how our system works. And so what's hit me here lately, and what I'm trying to do with everybody here on the team, is showing them more of how our company works and how our systems work. And that's how we are able to help clients. And so the more that they know how it works, that's the currency in our business. It's not like you use the professional development experience with your team. What's the last time that you developed yourself, right? I mean, for me, it would be, when's the last time you rediscovered how we get clients? Or when's the last time you rediscovered how our tax process works? You know, those kinds of things, investigating how does the bookkeeping area work, things of that nature. Like, that's what I think will breed confidence in our clients, talking with everybody on the team because they want to talk to me because they know I have the answers. And I've got the answers because I got the experience and I can make the decisions. So if I can teach my team how to get the experience and how it works and how to make decisions, holy cow, then we're really got something going. Then you're going to have the courage to answer the question because you know what the answer should be and how to make decisions. And so for us, really, the way to, in my opinion, to establish courage is for us to have our own routines, our own goals, our own accountability in our own life. Man, if we can do that, the only reason you lose clients is because you don't get a phone call back or whatever, like you were talking about. Yep. The service side, that's what it is.
Well, I want you to really understand this, because when we create uncertainty for people because they're unclear on how something works, you know, we're trying to put a pool in at the lodge, but if we put a pool in and it's a commercial space, there's different codes to put a commercial pool in versus a residential pool. Okay. But we don't work at the city. We don't know. So the pool company we're dealing with, they're in our coaching program, by the way, you know, basically said, you need to call these people and you need to do this and you need to do that. And my wife basically said, why should we do that? Like, we're going to pay you $120,000 to put the pool in. Like, you need to call those people. You need to find out what the restrictions are. You need to come back and tell us how to do a commercial swimming pool. Like, so she sends this email back to the person, the salesperson, that says, you know, this has created some hesitation. This has created some uncertainty in me. And I'm sitting there going, you know, what they wanted to do. So I'm telling you this because you guys get questions a lot. And I would tell you the business owners have no clue. They have no clue which tax is which tax. They have no clue between federal and state. They have no clue between how a business entity is set up. They have no clue. You need to assume nothing, no thing. And you need to tell them and tell them again. And here's the deal. They're not going to listen. Then you're going to have to tell them again. Okay. And you're going to have to tell them again. Okay.
Why you talk about yourself, Coach?
Okay. I only know because they say if you can spot it in other people, you got it. So I tell my team, I'm like, look, guys, when you present an idea to me, present it in different ways. Present it, you know, in written form, present it in auditory form. And sometimes auditory form is literally just a voice message where they break the idea down for me. Now, you may say, Coach Burt, that's high, you're being high maintenance. I would call it high expectation. But the reality is when I see it and I hear it, then I comprehend it better because I'm moving about the universe. I'm not stationary. So when you're hitting me with ideas and you say, hey, we need to do this or we need to do that, I may have 30 more things hit me in the next couple of hours. And so I need it presented to me in a way that I can get it and go, okay, I can make a decision. I like options. Option A, option B, option C. Okay. So when you're thinking about these accounting issues, I'm telling you, because it takes courage for you to communicate with people. Okay. Now I want to close this out with a few things. One is, if you look at commitment on a commitment continuum, this is something I'm working with North Star while I'm in St. Louis every month. We found out that North Star, which is a client of ours, and I think a client of yours, we found out that they are having record days of selling insurance. Biggest months they've ever had, biggest weeks they've ever had. When we polled their managers and we showed them a commitment continuum from these levels, okay, if you get anything from this, take this away. The lowest level of commitment to another person is rebel or quit. I could actually show up at work every day and have quit. Everybody see that? I can be there physically, but I'm not there emotionally. I'm not there mentally. I'm not there spiritually. I'm just there physically. Rebel or quit. But I could still show up every day because I need the paycheck. The second level of commitment is called malicious obedience. Malicious obedience is where I create drama in the office, backstabbing, undermining, say one thing to your face, another thing behind your back. That's called malicious obedience. The third level of commitment is called willing compliance. And willing compliance is where most of America operates. It's where people show up to work every day. They go through the motions. Their heart's not really involved. They're not passionate about it. They do just enough not to get fired, but they don't do enough to really help you. They just go through the motions. Most companies are right there. Then when you get up to the highest levels of commitment, there's heartfelt commitment, creative excitement, synergy. So when you see a company where there's high levels of commitment, people are bringing ideas to the equation. They're coming in, they're going, hey, I spent the weekend working on this one concept. Like I have an employee who will go home on the weekend and spend her own time without me asking, looking for new ways to do it better. She may spend 4, 5, 6 hours on a Saturday or Sunday, and she'll send me, hey, I worked 6 hours on this weekend. I didn't ask her to do that, by the way. I didn't say, hey, work all day on Saturday. She just wants to do it. That's very high level of commitment. That's a creative excitement level. She's bringing me solutions versus bringing me problems. Do you know that we found by polling every manager at North Star that they believe all of their employees, for the most part, are still operating at willing compliance? Now, this should shock you because they're having record days and they're only operating on a tank of gas, on a half a tank of gas. Most managers believe some of their employees are wasting as many as 4 hours a day in wasted activity of just goofing off, going to the bathroom, taking a smoke break, stepping outside, talking to the person beside them. And I said, now, as an accountant, Jonathan, you can appreciate this. What if we captured all of that opportunity? Instead of having $100,000 days, you could be having $400,000 days, right? Like just because you're winning, you don't need to be lulled into it's all working the way it should work, because if it worked the way it should work, these record days wouldn't be 1 out of every 5, because that's basically what they're doing. They're having a record day 1 out of every 5 days. You would be having 5 out of 5 days if you got to this level. Okay. But guess what's going to have to happen? It's going to take courage from the managers to confront behavior. It's going to take courage from the managers to coach people. It's going to take courage to address these things, because how much money are we really losing? We're winning, but we're losing. Okay. So I want you to understand these levels, and I'll close with this. If you are not initiating ways to find value add for your clients, and when I say value add, I want to put this in triple value. Number one, there's the service, whether you're providing bookkeeping, taxes, whatever, setup of entities, whatever. There is the service that a person literally thinks they could get anywhere. Like I could get that service anywhere. Then there is the second value, which is I give you the service, and I don't just give you good service, I give you great service. And the second piece is I also give you my emotional support. Now, what does that mean? Emotional support. Like if you gave me the accounting services, but you also gave me emotional support, how could you do that as an accounting firm? What are some examples of that?
Ask them about that deal that they had that we were preparing for, doing a cash flow statement for. How did that deal go? Did you get the cash that you needed? I mean, for us being on social media, liking the client's stuff, commenting on their social media.
So when you think about this, I went to a Thanksgiving party last week for one of our clients, and it was this, typically I have a lot of hesitation of going because not everybody's nice to me, and it's in my hometown, so sometimes I get treated the worst in my hometown. I don't know if you ever read the Bible, you'll understand that. And so I had all this hesitation of going to this party, right? People are going to be drinking alcohol. They're going to be getting crazy. They're going to be, like I said last year, some people were rude to me, and I made up my mind that every person I talked to, I was going to say something positive to. I was going to notice something about them. Like, man, I noticed you did this. I saw on social media you're doing this. I'm so proud of you. You're doing incredible things. And every person I talked to that night, I found something like that to say to them. And I told my buddy the next day those people at your party were so nice to me. They were so friendly to me. And he said, well, do you think it has something to do with how friendly you were to them? And I said, absolutely. Because I said something nice, even to people that I thought would be rude, they all said something nice back. They all said, thank you for saying that, Coach Burt. Now, emotional support is going beyond the accounting, and it's checking on people. It's calling on people. How you doing? How's it working? How can I help you? What can we do to be there for you? Like when they have life events, you need to be there for them. When they're down in the dumps, you need to be there for them. When they're on the top of the mountain, you need to be there for them. When they're having a baby, you need to be there for them. When they're getting married, you need to be there for them. You need to remember that there's more to the accounting equation than just the accounting piece. That's a commodity. So I give them the commodity, that's the service, plus the emotional support. Now, if you really want to take it to the next level, Gus, this is where you come into the equation. If you really want to take it to the next level, you introduce them to your networks of people. You introduce them to your networks of people, i.e. you help them expand their network through your network. You're a connector. Okay. And if you really start connecting your clients to new opportunity, to new money, now, even if your accounting services are higher than other people's accounting services, you guys have heard me talk about Dr. Hotze in Houston. Dr. Hotze, who is my personal physician, has helped me generate hundreds of thousands of new dollars for my business. I don't even care how much the doctor bill is. Me and my wife both go there, probably spending $20,000 a year for our health in cash. But why do I care when he helped me generate a couple $100,000 a year? Everybody understand what I'm saying here? So when you think of it that way, you're thinking at a much higher frequency than just, I introduce you to an accountant. We have good accounting services. Like now you're giving the client emotional support and you're giving them access to new money and new networks. And that makes you incredibly valuable. That makes you incredibly valuable. Okay.
Coach, can you, and maybe, I don't know, this might be a little bit too direct, but Lauren, can I pick on you for a second? Sure. So, like, I get what you're saying, and I agree with everything, but can you tell me practically from your point of view, because you are a client, you kind of understand you do understand what we're doing. Lauren, can you take Lauren as an example? That's, executive assistant, like, apply what you're talking about. Like, what is the real thing? Because, I believe that there is a ton of opportunity for our whole team to be connecting with clients because we have more people involved. We're trying to, connect the clients with our network as well, which I believe is a big value item. But can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So when you're thinking about this, when it comes to my team, let me use an example. The complaints that I hear about my team are typically complaints like this. They didn't get back to me fast enough. They didn't have clarity. So-and-so told me he was going to call me back and he didn't. I waited for 7 days to get a response on this. Like people, when they complain about something, they bring me the complaints as the business owner. Now I go to my team member and I say, hey man, why did it take you 4 days to get a response back to them? Why did you, right? Like, why does it, like, here's what you don't want. You don't want other people complaining about no matter what your role is. Like if you were on my account at JD Frost and Company and I never get a response from you and I got important questions and you say, well, I'm really busy right now. Like to me, that is not giving me emotional support. If anything, you can say, hey, I'm going to get you an answer. I'm working on something right now, but I'll get you an answer by tomorrow. And if you tell somebody you're going to get them an answer by tomorrow, you need to get them an answer by tomorrow. Like they shouldn't have to follow up with you over and over and over and over. Now, the reason that's important is, let's say I go to JD and every time I go to JD, I get a response. He text messages me back. He sends me a video message. He's interested, right? Like let's say every time, but then I come to one of his team members and I don't get a response. Now, see, what if you came to Coach Burt and you got a response, but you go to my team and then you don't get a response? They're going to lump us all together. They're going to say, look, their customer service sucks. They don't get back to people fast. They're disorganized. And you don't want other teams talking about you like that. They're not friendly, whatever the thing they're going to use is. You got to understand that every communication you have is an opportunity to win a person over. Do you know one of the things I do on Instagram now? If a person reaches out to me on Instagram, I always video message them back. Because do you know how much that means to them when I video message them versus send them a regular message back? Now that takes time, courage. It could be crazy for all I know. So here's my point though. Do you know how much more they fight for me? Then here's what I noticed: an increase in engagement. Now they're following me more. Now they're liking everything I do. Now they're commenting on everything I do. Why? I used to just send a little message back, or like a little, like, the little muscle things back, or I'd send like a okay, or, but that's such a cheesy way to do it when I have an opportunity to just put my phone up and go, hey man, thank you for the message. Thank you for following my work. Means the world to me. That's how I want you guys thinking. I call it the +1, JD. And the +1 is whatever you're doing. In the Bible, it talks about if a man asks you to go 1 mile, go 2. If a person asks you to go 1 mile, go 2. And I think this is a good lesson for all of us. So I think the biggest thing that you guys could do is don't ever say we're busy. Don't ever say we're really busy. It's tax season. We can't get you a response for 4 days. That's about you. That's a selfish answer. The customer don't care how busy you are. They don't care if it's tax season. They don't care if your eyeballs are falling. They don't care. The customer wants a response. They do not care about what's going on in your life. So I try to teach my assistants, don't ever say, well, Coach Burt's really busy. We can't get you on his schedule until, June of 2020. I don't care if you can't get them on the schedule to June of 2020. Never tell them that. Never say I'm busy. Say, look, we're working hard for you. We're going to try to make it fit. We're going to get you on his schedule because he really wants to see you. And this is something I've had to coach my assistant and my team on, especially one particular team member, because their responses were short, curt, dismissive. And I'm like, look, start every email off with, how are you? My attorney starts every email off to me, hey, coach, how are you? How are you as a person? Here's the business we tend to. That takes, 20 more seconds to start every email off that way versus just right to the point. So, JD, that's what I would tell you, is every one of you are an extension of what you're trying to build there. So every time you don't follow up, every time you don't respond, every time you're late to getting back, every time you promise something you don't deliver, is just, it creates uncertainty, and that creates courage for them to go look for somebody else. Any more questions?
That's the number one thing. I'm serious. Why people get disgruntled or start to look or anything like that is the lack of emotional support. If I've learned anything from this last 4 or 5 months of what I've been going through, is my lack of teaching how important that emotional support is and how to actually provide that.
Yep. And it all comes back to one word: connection. When we lose connection with each other and we become disconnected, it's really hard sometimes to get that back. So you have to work real hard at staying connected to a lot of people. I have found that the voice text messages are one of the best things you can do. Just a little shot of encouragement to people in the mornings, or a little note or a video or something, but just stay emotionally engaged with people. Because listen, Lou Holtz used to say, what takes years to build up can take seconds to tear down. What takes years to build up can take seconds to tear down. And in a world where there's very little loyalty to each other, people are always asking, what did you do for me yesterday? Right? What did you do for me today? They don't even care if last year you saved them $300,000 on their taxes. This year, it's, what have you done for me this year? That was last year. And I always say, success don't care what you did yesterday. Success only cares what you're doing today. To a lot of people, that's just the way they think. Okay. Has this been a good session for you guys on courage?
Yes.
Okay. It applies to everybody. Thank you for being coachable, and take this with you and add that emotional support, add that access to networks, and keep moving the ball down the field. Okay. You guys have a great day.